The media sometimes is the cause of publishing wrong, preconceived ideas about politicians, people, and even a nation. In the Western world, for example, people have a very funny idea about India and Indians, which they get from their media. Like, for example, Indian people cannot speak English. Indians are uneducated. Indians are poor, dirty, and chaotic. Indians eat only curry. Indian people speak Hindu. Indians worship millions of gods. Many people base their opinions on these wrong, preconceived ideas. Wrong, preconceived ideas. That pretty well sums up the situation as Jesus came on the scene as Messiah. Everyone had his own idea just who the Messiah was and how he would bring about his kingdom. The problem is that no one really understood the real Jesus. But hasn't this always been a perennial problem? In the parable of the prodigal son, the real tragedy of the story was not the open rebellion of the younger son or the jealous envy of the elder brother. The real tragedy was that neither one of them really understood the Father. This was certainly one of the problems of the one-talent man in the parable of the talents. He went to the master and said, "I knew you were a hard man, reaping where you did not sow." He just didn't understand the master. As it was then, so it is now. So few understood Jesus. So few understand him today. Why is this? The answer? Wrong, preconceived ideas. First, take a look with me at the preconceived ideas of the first century Jew. As Jesus walks to Caesarea Philippi with his disciples, he is curious. What has his time with the disciples brought about in their understanding of who he is? He asked them, "Who do the people say I am?" Some immediately responded to Jesus' question by saying, "Some say you are John the Baptist." Now, why would they say that? Well, it was John the Baptist, you recall, who preached a message of repentance and preparing the way for the coming of the Messiah. It was John who formed a group of disciples around him, several of whom were now the disciples of Jesus. Therefore, the message of both John and Jesus was similar. That is, they were both urging people to change direction in life before it was too late. But there was more to it than that. For King Herod Antipas had had John killed. Herod Antipas was the son of Herod the Great, the man who had figured so prominently in the birth of Jesus. It was now publicly known that Herod Antipas was living with his brother Philip's wife. When John had the courage to rebuke him for it, he paid with his head. Now it was an ancient Jewish custom that those great men on earth who had met a violent death possessed great powers in the spirit world. Some, therefore, believed that Jesus was literally John the Baptist come back to life or sent back from heaven. In fact, King Herod himself believed this and trembled at the thought. In Mark chapter 6 verse 16, it reads, "This man is John the Baptist, whom I beheaded, and he has been raised from the dead." Herod had heard all these miraculous stories of Jesus, and he just knew it was John the Baptist come back from the grave with supernatural powers to torment his guilty conscience. It was easy to understand then why many would think Jesus to be John the Baptist. Second, not only did the first century Jews have preconceived ideas about the Messiah, the 21st century Christian also has preconceived ideas about the identity of the Messiah. You might ask, how can this be? For we know Jesus and his teachings. We sit on this side of the resurrection with 2000 years of church history behind us. But consider with me a most common picture of Jesus. Some people today look upon Christ as the hero type. They think that Jesus came to rescue them from all the problems and tough decisions that the world throws at us. This theory was seen in Jesus Christ Superstar. So you are the Christ, great Jesus Christ, Prove to me that you are no fool. Walk across my swimming pool, it said. So you are the Christ, the great Jesus Christ. Prove to me that you are divine. Change my water into wine. Feed my household with this bread. You can do it on your head. Or has something gone wrong? Why do you take so long? Come on, King of the Jews. I only ask you what I ask any superstar. What is it that you've got that put you where you are? I am waiting. I am a captive fan. I am dying to be shown that you are not just a man. It's the hero concept of Jesus. This is Benny Hinn picture of Jesus. If you have faith in Jesus, He will heal you and prosper you. It is the God of prosperity, faith movement, and whatever can be said of it, it is not a new concept. When Jesus was in the wilderness, it was Satan who tempted Him by saying, "Jump off this cliff. Come on, be a hero, Jesus." People loved a good stunt. Pull a miracle out of your bag to leave the people in awe. No, it's not a new idea. But Jesus rejected it then as He does now. Finally, Jesus asked the question, "Who do you say that I am?" Answering this question correctly will move you away from the wrong misconceptions of Jesus. Who do you say I am? When you are asked in Sunday school or by your children, who is Jesus, do you say what others say about Him? We do that sometimes. We say what parents say, what friends, professors, authors, preachers say. But the question is, who do you say that I am? Simon Peter shouted out, "Thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God." Correct. But then Jesus began telling exactly how He would be Messiah. He would be Messiah by suffering, by being rejected, and finally by being killed. It was at this point that Simon Peter pulled Jesus aside and said, "Master, don't talk like that. It is not going to be that way." Maybe he was naive enough to really believe that. Maybe he felt that all this martyr talk would hurt their image. This was not the king of political and military talk that the people wanted. Peter knew that Jesus was Messiah, but his idea of Messiah and Jesus' idea of Messiah did not match up. In a word, Peter's concept of the Messiah did not include a cross. What is our concept of the Messiah, and what does discipleship, being in His service, mean to us? Does it include suffering, self-giving, self-denying, losing ourselves in order that we might find ourselves, total commitment, a cross? In the end, we must all answer this question for ourselves. For this question is one that we must all answer. Who do you say that I am? May Jesus Christ be praised.